Dear finance professionals and students, welcome to podcast of FCA Deepak Rao, a practicing chartered accountant. Weekly digest for week 5 of May 2025. JSW Paints is poised to acquire AkzoNobel India, valuing AkzoNobel's NV stake at approximately Rs 9,000 crore. This acquisition will position JSW Paints as a significant player in both the decorative and industrial paint sectors in India. The deal, expected to finalize by mid-June, involves an open offer for an additional 26% of the company's shares. Reserve Bank of India plans to simplify claiming unclaimed deposits. New rules allow KYC updates via video calls and business correspondence. This helps reactivate dormant accounts, especially in rural areas. The move aims to ease reclaiming funds from accounts inactive for over 10 years. Users can check the Udgam portal and soon update KYC remotely. Global Capability Centers or GCCs are fueling the premiumization of India's office real estate market, driven by the demand for Grade A, ESG compliant buildings equipped with advanced smart technology systems critical to achieving their sustainability goals. GCCs are opting for premium real estate not only to bolster brand reputation but to attract and retain top talent, improve operational efficiency, and enhance employee productivity. These standards have made their office selection process more stringent than ever. InfoEdge, the parent company of Naukri.com, has secured shareholder approval to invest up to Rs 1,000 crore in InfoEdge Venture Investment Fund 3, enabling further investments in startups. Smart Web Internet Services Limited will manage the fund. The company's early investments in Zomato and Policy Bazaar are now valued at Rs 31,500 crore. The Indian mutual fund industry experienced substantial growth, with AUM surging by 22.25% year-on-year to Rs 70 trillion in March 2025. Open-ended other schemes led the growth, followed by equity and hybrid schemes. Despite geopolitical tensions and reciprocal tariffs, domestic investors showed confidence, contributing to the 50th consecutive month of positive inflows in equity mutual funds. Titan Capital, a seed-stage venture capital firm, has announced the launch of a specialized investment vertical to fund startups innovating in India's defense and strategic technology space. With this program, Titan Capital is actively seeking to invest in startups working at the intersection of advanced hardware, aerospace, cybersecurity, and manufacturing. The focus is not only on national security but also on fostering deep tech innovation, creating high-value jobs, and helping India become a net exporter of strategic technologies. Auditors have raised concerns about the financial health and practices of Oppo and Realme's India units, citing bookkeeping issues, incomplete records, and negative net worth for Oppo. These issues arise amidst ongoing regulatory scrutiny and investigations into Chinese smartphone brands for alleged financial irregularities. National Financial Reporting Authority or NFRA has received a complaint against IndusInd Bank. The complaint is about accounting issues in forex derivative portfolio. Reserve Bank of India is providing inputs to NFRA. Securities and Exchange Board of India and Institute of Chartered Accountants of India are also reviewing the bank's books. IndusInd Bank reported losses due to these discrepancies. The Reserve Bank of India has instructed finance companies to exclude default loss guarantees or DLGs from fintech firms when provisioning for stressed loans, impacting digital lending service providers. NBFCs must now make full provisions on these loans, diminishing their appeal for new business. CityCart, one of India's fastest growing value fashion retailers, has raised Rs 538 crore in a Series B funding round, marking one of the largest investments in the country's budget apparel segment to date. The round was co-led by TPG Newquest, the Asia-focused secondary private equity arm of TPG, and A91 Partners, a domestic growth stage investment firm. The Reserve Bank of India is seeking government approval to allow domestic banks to lend rupees to overseas borrowers, initially focusing on neighboring countries like Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, and Sri Lanka. This initiative aims to promote the rupee's use in international trade, reduce reliance on currency swap arrangements, and facilitate easier trade settlements while mitigating foreign exchange volatility. Airbus and Tata Advanced Systems will establish an H-125 helicopter final assembly line in Kolar, Karnataka, marking India's first private helicopter assembly facility. This initiative supports the Make in India campaign, aiming for self-reliance in aerospace manufacturing. The plant will produce helicopters for India and neighboring countries with potential expansion to meet projected demand. The Income Tax Department has extended the due date to file income tax return for financial year 2024-25 or assessment year 2025-26 from July 31st, 2025 to September 15th, 2025. The decision was made after a delay in issuing the notification of income tax return forms. Further, the Income Tax Department is yet to issue the utilities to file the income tax return. The income tax return filing of July 31st, 2025 applies to most general categories of taxpayers. This includes most salaried employees and also those taxpayers whose accounts are not required to be audited. India is set to become the world's fourth largest economy by the end of 2025, according to the International Monetary Fund's World Economic Outlook report released in April. A few years ago, India overtook the United Kingdom to become the fifth largest and is now well on its way to rise to the fourth spot in the list of the top 10 largest economies in the world by overtaking Japan. In just 11 years, India has surged from world's 10th to 4th largest economy, a remarkable trajectory driven by sustained growth and strategic reforms under the NDA government. However, with the world's largest population, its per capita GDP remains strikingly low at just Rs 2,880, according to the IMF, far behind China's $13,690 and Japan's $33,960. HDB Financial Services is nearing regulatory approval from SEBI for its IPO, potentially raising $1.5 billion. This listing, a unit of HDFC Bank, could be India's largest IPO for a shadow bank and a significant test for the IPO market. Tata Capital is also planning a substantial IPO, indicating a potential resurgence in India listings. Jio BlackRock Asset Management, a joint venture between Jio Financial Services and BlackRock, on Tuesday announced the receipt of regulatory approval from the Securities and Exchange Board of India to commence operations as an investment manager for their mutual fund business in India. Aditya Birla Fashion and Retail plans a Rs 500 crore capital expenditure in 2025-26, aiming to turn around loss-making ventures like TCNS Clothing and TMRW. With recent fundraising, Aditya Birla Fashion and Retail intends to triple in scale and double profitability in 5 years despite current subdued retail sales growth. Excluding TMRW, the group anticipates being EBITDA positive next year. Bengaluru has been ranked among the top 12 global tech powerhouses in real estate consulting firm CBRE's Global Tech Talent Guidebook 2025, which analyzed tech talent across 115 markets worldwide. Among others, the city joins the ranks of San Francisco, New York, London, and Tokyo, with its workforce of more than 1 million, making it the largest tech talent hub in the Asia-Pacific region. Bengaluru stood out not only for the size of its talent pool but also for its leadership in artificial intelligence, boasting the highest number of AI professionals in India, comparable to major US clusters. A US federal court has blocked Donald Trump's attempt to impose sweeping tariffs under emergency powers, ruling that the president exceeded his constitutional authority. The Court of International Trade determined that only Congress can regulate foreign trade, rejecting Trump's use of emergency legislation to justify the levies. The ruling came in response to lawsuits filed by US businesses and states, with critics calling the tariffs economically damaging and legally unsound. The decision casts uncertainty over Trump's trade policy and global negotiations. British Petroleum plc's Castrol lubricant business is attracting interest from energy companies including Reliance Industries Limited and buyout firms such as Apollo Global Management and Lone Star Funds. BP has sent out initial information to other potential bidders for the unit, including investment firms, Brookfield Asset Management, and Stone Peak Partners. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of India has approved a crucial draft regulatory framework which will enable domestic chartered accountant firms to tie up with their global peers to set up shop in the country. The move is aimed at enabling local entities to gain scale in sync with the centre's vision of creating large homegrown accounting firms. The framework would require local firms that are already affiliated with global accounting entities to register with the ICAI and undertake necessary compliances. The Rs 1 trillion Research Development and Innovation or RDI fund, which was announced in the July budget for financial year 25, of which Rs 20,000 crore has already been allocated, will be operationalized in the next 2 to 3 months. This fund is not just for startups, it is also for corporates and industries, provided they undertake cutting-edge R&D projects. Once operational, the industry is expected to deliver innovative products and help India achieve strategic autonomy in the mobility transition. The NCLT bench ordered the freezing of assets and bank accounts for 37 people and organizations connected to Gensol. This includes Gensol, its related companies and its promoters and associates. The RBI and Indian Banks Association have been told to freeze all bank accounts and lockers of these parties. Indus Law has strategically partnered with CMS, a global legal powerhouse, following the Bar Council of India's decision to allow foreign law firms. This collaboration enhances Indus Law's international reach and provides CMS with a foothold in the rapidly growing Indian legal market. The partnership aims to offer clients coordinated legal services, leveraging the strengths of both firms. India is preparing to release a discussion paper on crypto assets, influenced by the International Monetary Fund and Financial Stability Board, amid growing global acceptance spurred by the US's evolving stance. This comes as the nation considers regulatory frameworks and stakeholder input with no rush to judgment. The Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India, or IBBI, has released the insolvency professionals to act as IRPs, liquidators, RPs, and bankruptcy trustees guidelines 2025. The document replaces the 2024 framework and is meant to standardize how panels of insolvency professionals are prepared and shared with adjudicating authorities so that appointments happen quickly and transparently. The Institute of Cost Accountants of India, or ICMAI, has released the first edition of its guidance note on environmental costing in April 2025, marking a significant advancement in integrating environmental responsibility within cost and management accounting frameworks. Developed by the Task Force on Cost and Carbon Convergence, this guidance note introduces a holistic environmental costing framework aimed at helping businesses systematically identify, measure, and manage their environmental footprint. The Reserve Bank of India is scrutinizing payment fintechs for allegedly misclassifying merchants to exploit credit card fee structures. Several payment aggregators are said to have misclassified merchants, typically in the retail category, under utility, a segment that traditionally draws lower interchange rates. Such a move allowed payment firms to allegedly pocket the difference between what merchants were charged and what issuing banks received. Tech major Apple has leased 8,000 square feet of retail space at Bengaluru's Phoenix Mall of Asia for its third outlet in the country. It will pay an annual rent of about Rs 2.09 crore or Rs 7.4 lakh per month, with a revenue share of about 2% for the first 3 years of operation. While the Bengaluru outlet will be open later this calendar year, the move marks a step up for the iPhone maker in terms of its retail strategy in the country. Reserve Bank of India will soon release norms to stop mis-selling. This will protect consumers from misleading sales tactics. In financial year 25, the RBI received many complaints about loans and digital banking. The RBI is also creating a system to check how well banks protect customers. They are working to educate people and improve complaint handling with AI. The Finance Ministry has suggested the RBI to exempt small borrowers seeking loans below Rs 2 lakh from its draft directions on gold collateral lending, aiming for quicker dispersal. They also proposed implementing the rules from January 1, 2026, citing the need for field-level adjustments. This came after reviewing the RBI's draft guidelines and considering stakeholder concerns. Deutsche Bank orchestrated a significant $3.35 billion private credit deal for the Shapoorji Pallonji Group, securing funds from global investors like BlackRock and Morgan Stanley. The 3-year non-convertible debentures backed by a portion of SP Group's Tata Sons stake offer a 19.75% yield. The debt is secured by SP Group's 9.2% stake in Tata Sons, held via Sterling Investment, its real estate arm, Shapoorji Pallonji Real Estate, and SP Energy, the oil and gas business. The issuance, arranged solely by Deutsche Bank, is the first large corporate bond placement under the revised FPI norms, which now allow offshore investments through the general limit route instead of the restrictive voluntary retention route. The IFRS Foundation has announced the release of updated educational materials supporting the revised 2025 IFRS for SMEs accounting standard. As part of its commitment to enhancing understanding and application of the standard, the Foundation is actively updating its comprehensive suite of standalone educational modules. Each module corresponds to a specific section of the IFRS for SMEs accounting standard and is tailored to assist users in navigating the latest amendments with a focus on sections that have undergone substantial changes. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of India has officially announced the examination schedule for the CA Foundation, Intermediate and Final courses for the September 2025 session. The CA Foundation course examination will be held on 16th, 18th, 20th and 22nd September 2025. The CA Intermediate course Group 1 will be held on 4th, 7th and 9th September 2025. Group 2 will be held on 11th, 13th and 15th September 2025. The CA Final course Group 1 will be held on 3rd, 6th and 8th September 2025. Group 2 will be held on 10th, 12th and 14th September 2025. Bengaluru-based apparel company Gokuldas Exports aims to expand its footprint in the UK and EU while maintaining key businesses in the US, buoyed by its highest ever overall income for financial year 25. In June 2024, the company invested Rs 280 crore in a mill belonging to BRFL Textiles, acquiring an approximate 11.38% stake. This is likely to convert into a complete acquisition with ongoing discussions. Additionally, the apparel exporter is establishing new factories in central India instead of key textile hubs such as Tamil Nadu and Tripura. Ola Electric faces financial distress with a 60% drop in Q4 revenue, Rs 870 crore loss, and auditors warning on its viability. Amid falling market share and rising debt, investor confidence wanes. The next few quarters will be critical for its survival and potential turnaround. This podcast is sponsored by Sound of CA. We share because we care. Vande Mataram, Jai Hind.